Are we good?
Give me 1 minute here.
No worries. Oh, okay. Don't forget to change me back to host.
All right, it's
Thank
on.
you. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Tracy from Melody Ranch.
Good morning, Tracy. Miss Padilla, is Mr. Domenici joining us this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Herringhammer. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Kleinkamp. Thank you for being here.
Somehow or another, I'm not hearing you. Maybe I'm the only one.
Is that coming through now? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kleinkamp. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. We're here to have a status conference update on the matter of Melody Ranch. This is 25-00054. Ms. Padilla, I heard that you're in attendance. Is Mr. Domenici with us? Tracy?
I do not see him in attendance. My understanding was that he would be.
Okay, thank you. It seems like we're still having quite a few people joining. So let's go ahead and get started then with staff's updates. It's been several weeks since we've had a status conference, and I think we're all looking forward to the updates. Mr. Begacco, would you like to proceed?
Yes, please. Thank you. Staff's updates are as follows. I'll keep it as brief as possible. Number one, I understand that the water hauling operation is continuing and ongoing, and I've spoken with a couple residents, and they do not have any issues that they're reporting in terms of the level of service they're getting now. They seem to be satisfied. And then I spoke with Rebecca Roos the other day from the governor's office, and we're talking about getting a read on where the Department of Homeland Security Emergency Management stands in terms of timing for this. Meaning we're going to do an analysis of how much money's left and projected into the future to see how long this can go. And so we're trying to get a better grip on that. I also understand and hope that EMWT is progressing along. I did have contact with the Department of Environment a few weeks ago to talk about some things on their end. I spoke with John Roderick, and that was one of the things he was also going to follow up with on his end. So I've got an email out to folks at EMWT asking how things are coming along. I haven't heard anything back from them yet, but you'll note that we have We have NMED personnel on the call today too, and when they have an opportunity, maybe they have something further to add. I do not want to put them on the spot, but my understanding is EMWT is working on what they have been working on. And if I get any further detail, I'd be happy to discuss it. But that's where it stands right now with that. Additionally, I'll note that two formal complaints have been filed by residents from Melody Ranch recently. They have been received by records. We've made legal assignments for those, but I do not see that a hearing examiner has been assigned yet. And I believe the substance and the scope and breadth of those formal complaints do not carry any issues pertaining to the water hauling operation, but other things that are of concern to those particular residents. But above and beyond that, I wouldn't want to get into any further detail on those at this time, just to note that they've been filed and they are companion cases as far as I'm concerned to what we have going on now in 2554 UT. There's probably something else I'm forgetting, but those are the three top things on my mind right now. But currently for water hauling, it seems to be steady as she goes. Staff, Mr. Kreinkamp, if there's any further detail you'd like to add, please chime in.
No, nothing from my end, Mr. Bagaco. I think you covered everything.
Thank you, Mr. Bagaco, Mr. Kreinkamp. One just housekeeping issue before we proceed with other substantive matters. There is a TMGPA signed in, and I'm curious if that attendee could identify herself or himself.
So TMGP is me on my computer, and then the telephone number is me on my phone because I can't hear through my computer.
Okay.
So I'm signed in both like I normally do.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Padilla. Ms. Padilla, also, by the way, have we heard from Mr. Domenici yet?
I have not.
Have you attempted to make contact with him this morning?
Well, and since I'm on the phone and the computer, I can try to text him here. Let's see.
Mr. Schaefer, this is Zach Kim from the Domenici Law Firm here.
Oh.
If you guys need Pete, I can get him on the line.
Yes, I think that would be very advisable. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, while we wait for Mr. Domenici, not again to put anybody from the New Mexico Environment Department on the spot, but I open the floor to the colleagues and staff from that agency if anybody would like to share any updates or thoughts or background here during this status conference.
Yeah, good morning. This is Krista Schultz with the Environment Department with the Drinking Water Bureau.
Good morning, Ms. Schultz.
We have been coordinating with DHSEM on the water hauling. As far as I understand it, everything is going well. As far as any EMWT updates, I want to see if Aaron is with us and maybe he has something to add.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm glad to provide a bit of an update. We have received a pre-application for Drinking Water State Revolving Fund from EMWT, and we are in the early stages of technical, managerial, and financial capacity review. So we haven't received all the documentation that we would need to advance that pre-application to the Finance Authority. So I would say that as far as state revolving fund goes, the ball is in the court of EMWT to make progress on the documents that we've requested.
Thank you, Mr. Beckworth. While we wait for Mr. Domenici, I just have a question for maybe Mr. Bagaco. What is the status of the funds that are left for the water hauling, and is there any evaluation or analysis yet with respect to how far in time that will last until more funds are needed?
That's something that we're doing some work on right now with Rebecca Roos and DHS EM to project it out. I was told, though, informally, that it's pretty robust and there's still a good amount of money left, but obviously everybody wants to have a specific time frame and projection for purposes of that, so that we can see how it sizes up to whatever crystallizes on EMWT's end of things once it hopefully gets its pre-application fully supported here very shortly. And as
Okay.
soon as I have something to report on that, would you like me to do a status filing carrying those details?
I think so. I think that would be very helpful if it's not ready in time for a periodic filing. I think that as soon as we have that information, the commission and the public would very much value having an awareness of those funds and how much time is remaining. Another housekeeping issue. There's somebody in the waiting room, I believe, Oneva Pena. Is this somebody from the Environment Department?
Yes, so Neva Pena is from the Construction Programs Bureau, and she's also been involved in the funding options that are available. So yes, I would let her in.
Good morning, Ms. Oneva Pena. Thank you for being here with us today. Ms. Pena, can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, sorry about that. I'm attending from my work phone because we are on a 2-hour delay and I have my children. So I am
No worries. No worries. Happy to have you here. And
Thank
we
you.
were just going through updates, and we started with commission staff, and then we asked our counterparts at the Environment Department if they had any updates. Mr. Beckworth shared some details. Do you have any details you'd like to share with us this morning?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity. Ms. Padilla, is Mr. Domenici available yet?
I'm not sure. His assistant went to go get him,
Okay,
and
well,
I
for the sake of everyone's time, would you like to share your updates with us?
absolutely. Let me get organized here. Basically the water has been on full time since the water hauling started. And we did do reads just to evaluate any possible leaks, and we did identify some leaks, customer leaks, and notified them immediately. One was very concerning, and the others were just toilet leaks and whatnot. And so the last update is they jumped on taking care of handling any of these leaks. Everything's working well with East Mountain Water Hauling. Everything's working well with DHS once I, got a contact number. As to the question of the funds, my understanding so far, we've used 36 hauls to date. And just on the numbers that, I had provided, that's like the amount of money that was, given on this executive order was $250,000, if I'm mistaken, someone correct me, but that's, at least 943 hauls. So we've had 36 to date. So as far as timing goes, I feel like we have a little bit of time. So if that helps relieve anybody's wondering, now is that exact? No, but that's just kind of looking that I think this will, help for quite a while. The other thing is I did talk to Mr. Ortiz yesterday. He said that everything is going as planned. They are still in that process of the technical report. And he did tell me they have given the application and working on getting more. And they have several appointments, I guess, next week with the state to finalize some of that stuff. But from his perspective, everything is still running and going smoothly. He talked to me about, because I asked him what he would need from us. And he said eventually we would need to sign an agreement and sign deeds over. And so he talked about a agreement that they had done with Homestead Acres, and that they would probably use that basis of that agreement and just revise it for Melody Ranch. But just kind of giving me a heads up that that's where they're leaning towards. And then from there, it should be in their hands. He asked for really nothing. I guess he asked for a number of one of the customers, where the well is, and because they're looking for easements and checking into stuff like that. And that's basically about all I have.
Thank you, Miss Padilla. Mr. Domenici, are you with us now?
Yes, I am, Mr. Hearing Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Domenici. I think you may have heard the tail end of Ms. Padilla's updates. Do you have any updates from your perspective and your position to share with us?
Nothing that she wouldn't have already been able to share.
Okay, well, let me just ask a couple questions, Ms. Padilla. Is the rate of use of the water that's being hauled in greater or lesser than you expected?
The rate of use. Okay, let's see. So we did do reads. So from October 26th, I believe, or 27th to the reads we did, actually it was October 30th, and then we read on November 26th, which gives our monthly, which we would normally do. And so it shows that we pumped out 159,950 gallons. And then at that point on that date, we had hauled in 132,000 gallons. So that total use of 291 is approximately where usage and, pumping and usage and consumption is typically at for this time of year.
Okay. So the current use is consistent with historical averages that you have on record. Is that correct?
That's correct. Even though there was one huge leak, customer leak, 44,000 gallons in 1 month he used, which again, we notified immediately. And things, like that occur randomly on all ends, right? Sure. So yeah, even accounting for that, this is kind of our normal usage, correct?
Ms. Padilla, just a follow-up detail on that leak was recent and unexpected, or had that been going on for a while and was just discovered?
Recent and unexpected on our end, because we read every month and we follow high usage, right, on behalf of the customers, and then we urge them to, of course, check for leaks on their end. And if he was not aware of it, last month he had, I think his usage was around 10,000 gallons last month, so it was considerably higher, and of course unknown to him. And he called his plumber immediately out. Now, what I don't know is what they found, and and an update on that. But he was contacted immediately and took it seriously and jumped on it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Padilla. Now, Ms. Padilla, you also know, and all parties who have been with us throughout the duration of these hearings know how much the commission values notice and situational awareness and public meetings to describe what's happening. What are your plans for your next public outreach and engagement with the customers of Melody Ranch?
Well, at this point, our perspective is we are, making water available full time. Our office hours really are extend to any time of the day we're answering our phone. So if there is any kind of emergency, we are available. We're making ourselves available. We are out there daily with the water hauling, except for the weekends, but we still check the tank and the levels every day, despite the weekend and holidays, et cetera, et cetera. Today is going to be a little difficult because of the snow, but let's see if he can climb that tank today on regardless. But until I know something further from EMWT, I'm really not sure. We're just, our facility is functioning fine. If that changes, we would contact the customers or, ask for some kind of a public meeting. But other than that, until we really hear word from EMWT as to what the next step is, because I'm not even clear what the next step is myself. So I'm just waiting to hear. And so as long as the water's flowing fine, I don't know if I have anything to say to,
I think, yes,
as far as an update.
Sure. I still think it's quite important. I mean, we're in a grace period, almost quite literally at this point. We have been blessed with resources from the state to help bridge service deficiency in this time period. And I think that even without respect to updates from an external entity like EMWT, I think it's highly incumbent, as I've said in prior hearings and status conferences with all of us, to maintain an informative contact with the customers and the community of Melody Ranch. So just because we don't have certain updates regarding as I said, an external entity, I think it's very important just to keep the community up to date on what's happening, the source of the funds that are providing this grace period, the numbers around usage, because this relates to a much broader point that I continue to reiterate and will say again here, that this restoration of service is going to take the commitment and the collaboration and the willingness of everybody involved, from the customers to Melody Ranch, to staff, to our counterparts, Environment Department here at the hearing with us today. So this necessity to maintain everybody aware and on the same page is absolutely critical. But the other thing that it really helps is it creates an open channels of communication. So and builds some degree, I think, of reliance and confidence between all the parties, and primarily those parties that we're concerned about are the customers and the community of Melody Ranch. So again, I say, do not wait for the commission to order Melody Ranch or to order Melody Ranch to coordinate with staff or another party to maintain periodic public updates. Now, again, that can take several forms as needed. That could be online, it could be in person, it could be hybrid. But this question of notice on the one hand, and not just with notice, but specifically how notice and engagement and situational awareness is critical to the resolution of service deficiency and the restoration of service to the community of Melody Ranch, is of the highest regard and the highest importance. So I'll say that again, and I will issue an order following this hearing today to that effect. So go ahead.
Excuse me, just to clarify, we did notify the last public hearing. We did notify the water was on full time, and where the money or the water was coming from, the state executive order. That was all mailed to them physically through the mail. So all those notifications of all the current updates were done. And I'm not against, doing another type of meeting or we definitely can. We have a lot of emails. We can definitely send out that. I was hoping for a significant update, not just saying everything is still the same as the last update. So just not that I'm against having any kind of communication or update, just waiting to hear from them to see if, possibly we can add any significant information to an update.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Padilla. And I appreciate that. And I'll just maybe provide a little bit more insight into my thinking and the commission's perspective here, is that sometimes there's not a lot of information or new detail or updates to share. But any updates or details have limited value if the bridge and the engagement with the community is not there. So what's most important is the regularity and the proactive engagement with the community, in this case and in all cases that the commission handles.
Well, to be honest with you, Patrick,
I'm sorry, Ms. Padilla, Ms. Padilla, I hadn't finished.
Most people are, I know, I apologize, but the customers, there's a handful that they're just stating they could care less. They have water. They're just coming after me. And so I want to give significant, good information. I don't want to just be hounded and be told I'm a liar and all the things that this handful of customers, rightfully so, they feel. That's fine. But I want these updates or these meetings to be productive. And, I keep hearing everybody, let's work together. And I'm trying to work together. And I understand the importance of communication. But when it just comes down to they could care less about their water, they just want to harass me and bring me down. It's a personal thing now for a handful of them. I don't know what else to do.
Sure. And Ms. Padilla, thank you for that. And I would say that the commission is very sensitive to those concerns and has, to that end, really relied upon and valued the engagement of staff in their support for this kind of outreach effort. So I would just express that, again, that the commission is sensitive to the stresses and difficulties that Melody Ranch faces here in these kinds of engagements. But I just, again, reiterate the fundamental importance of a periodic engagement. And that could be 5 minutes. It could be 3 hours. It could be, an update that's full of new information, or it could just be an update that provides the awareness that Melody Ranch is continuing to monitor the situation on behalf of the customers and the community. So again, it doesn't have to be 3 hours long. It could be tailored and customized to the information that is being provided. But a regularity of engagement and a structure of engagement, I think, is really important here. And I'll also just add to your thoughts there, Ms. Padilla, that you're right. Everybody has to work together here through this difficult period. And it's going to require flexibility and an openness and a willingness of the community members, of the other state agencies involved, of Melody Ranch also, and staff. So the commission is sensitive to that, and again reiterates that everybody has to be willing to work together to move forward for a full restoration of service. Because, as I said earlier, and as I think Mr. Bagacco phrased it, we're in a bit of a grace period right now, and we don't want to lose this momentum, nor do we want to lose the benefit that this grace has provided us. So I just would encourage us to, and as I said, we'll be forthcoming in an order to schedule periodic updates with the community.
Mr. Schaefer, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Schultz.
Yes, this is Krista Schultz. I'm with the Drinking Water Bureau, and an update I probably should have provided earlier, and maybe this would help with communication with the customers, but the Environment Department has contracted with New Mexico Rural Water Association. They have been going out weekly, and they have been doing tests on the water just to ensure that it matches any of the tests that that Melody Ranch is taking. They did do a full assessment of the system. They looked at how much water Melody Ranch is able to pull, how much they're consuming. We did have them verify that the water coming out at the end of the line which would be the most concerning part, is clear. And they did verify that that's the case, and they've been out there weekly taking samples. So maybe if Melody Ranch wants to provide updates, I think maybe a weekly update of what rural water is doing might be helpful for the customers, just to know that there's an extra level of scrutiny at this point. And so far, we haven't had any issues or concerns. So,
Yes, thank you, Ms. Schultz. And I think that your contribution reflects, again, the value of all of us working together and sharing information and finding ways to make it out of this difficult period and provide the community and the customers with information so that they can understand where things are, whether it's respect to water quality or future engagement with another entity or a new well or how much money is left for hauling. So thank you for that contribution, Ms. Schultz.
Can I ask?
Go ahead,
I'm
Ms.
sorry
Padilla.
to interrupt. Can I ask
Go ahead.
that, Krista, I don't receive that information from the Rural Water Association. So if someone could provide it to me, I would absolutely include it in an update. But to date, I haven't received any information from them.
okay, I believe he's been meeting with your operator weekly. Is that true?
No, he meets with my office guy just to let him in and get where he needs to get the water from. Because my guy's going out there once a day to meet the water hauler. And so it's not my licensed water operator, and he doesn't give him the results or anything like that. My guy
Okay.
just lets him in. That's it.
Okay, yeah, we do have a contract with them. I could get something in writing, and maybe we could ask him to send something weekly if that's helpful. I don't know how often we want to do updates for the customers, but I know he's out there every week, and he will be until as the water hauling continues. So maybe we can ask
Right,
for some information and data.
Yeah, I am aware he's been out there. Very nice man. And, but again, I haven't seen any of the results. I haven't heard any of the information, of what he's reporting to you guys or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, I'll be glad to gather that information and disseminate it to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla, and thank you, Ms. Schultz. I think that's an example of a very beneficial collaboration. And just to maybe use an analogy, Ms. Padilla, there's many threads here that have the potential to come together and weave into a long-term and durable solution to this current difficulty. So I just encourage Melody Ranch as well as everybody on the call to reach out, think creatively, speak to each other, because it's those kinds of collaborations that can get the most out of our efforts and our investments. To know that there's a Rural Water Association working with Environment Department, that they're engaged with Melody Ranch right now. And I think the customers knowing, just to go back to this point, Ms. Padilla, even the customers knowing how much is going on in the background and the foreground with respect to the state's commitment to restoring service here, I think goes a long way. So even if there's not anything new or critical or alarming or decisive to report, the kind of maintaining awareness and engagement has its own value that is fundamental. So I just express that again in those terms. Now, are there any other updates? My principal curiosities, I believe, have been addressed by Mr. Bagacco and Melody Ranch. Based on what's been said so far, Mr. Bagacco, do you have any thoughts to add before we conclude?
Nothing other than my thanks for my dog barking all the time. But my thanks to everybody for participating. Thank you, Ms. Pena. Thank you, Mr. Beckworth. Thank you, Ms. Schultz. Thank you, Ms. Padilla. and Mr. Domenici for coming today and talking. And I've learned a little bit more. I think somebody told me about the Rural Water Association before, but I've been so focused on other things. I'm glad to hear that, and I think that is a valuable thing to communicate to the community. Sorry for my dog.
No worries, Mr. Big Echo. Mr. Domenici, would you like to share any further thoughts or updates with us? Mr. Domenici, are you with us? Well, we may have lost Mr. Domenici, but I will say again before we conclude that this is a robust and integrated collaboration between a variety of state agencies, including the Public Regulation Commission, the Environment Department, the Governor's Office, the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Finance and Administration, as well as Melody Ranch and the community of Melody Ranch. So I think that this in some ways may be uncommon in the level of involvement and engagement and cooperation, but I think that it augurs and speaks to a positive resolution to current service deficiency with Melody Ranch. So again, I really just reiterate that because I think that is at the heart of the commission's perspective here, is to find an efficient, rapid restoration of service by relying upon the talent, skills, engagement, investments of our agencies and communities across the region and the state. So as I said, I'll be issuing an order after this hearing or a status conference to reset a periodic schedule, as well as some other details. But if there's no other thoughts or questions for the time being, I would just reiterate the thanks that Mr. Begacco expressed to our counterparts at Environment Department. And I also express my thanks to everybody on the call today. And we are in recess and we'll have a new status conference pursuant to the order that should be issued today or tomorrow.
Mr. Hearing Examiner, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I know you just said
No,
we
go
were in
ahead.
recess. I apologize. I should have inserted myself earlier, but I do have a couple questions. Do you mind if I ask before we end here?
No, please, Miss Herrera Waldrop, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alyssa Herrera Waldrop. I'm a member of the Office of General Counsel at the PRC. And I just had a couple of follow-up questions. One, this is for Melody Ranch or its council. And we had an email status update a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that Melody Ranch asserted was that it would be reinstating shutoffs for past due payments, non-payments of accounts. And I'm just wondering if that has occurred, and if so, how many connections that has happened for.
So following the PRC rules and regulations, we bill the first of the month. The bills are due the 20th. So last month on the 21st, we sent out past due notices on balances on accounts. And I believe the shut-off date is scheduled for December 9th, next week. Because after you send the shut-off, we have 15 days. We have to notify the customers. And so I think it's scheduled for the 9th. We did have quite a big list as of the 21st. Let me look at as of the end of the month and billing. We had, let's see, there's $3,889 still outstanding. A lot of those I could be, because of the holiday The mail is delayed. I know a customer just called 2 days ago, said they sent a bill at the beginning of, or at the end of October, and I still have not received it. So we don't just go turn off on the 9th. We call everybody and we make sure they understand. And so that's what we'll do. So to answer, quickly, no, we have not done it, but we are planning on it because of our inability to charge for the water that we are pumping out of our well. We need to pay our electric bill. So, we need to go back to doing what we're allowed to do. And unfortunately, that's shut off. It's not something we want to do. That's why we haven't done it in 5 months because of the situation. But to be able to keep doors open and us working with everybody and getting water pumped through our lines and all of that, we need to be able to pay the bills. So unfortunately, yeah, we will.
Tracy,
we will be.
How many
stating it.
customers? How many customers are impacted?
So the main ones, there's one right now. Past due list, it shows everybody. But again, that was as of the 30th. Most payers pay, the week of payment date. So when I go check the mail, there's, anywhere from 40 payments. I checked on Monday, there was nothing, but that was just right after the holiday, and I had checked last week. So, I'm looking to go to the mail today, tomorrow, and eliminating the majority of these. Before this, everyone paid on time. So, to see this many is unusual. What it will come down to on the 9th, I don't think it's anywhere near this number. I would say, maybe 10, 12 people. I can't say exactly for sure, but right now it looks like everybody's in the past due account as far as just last month's bill. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 that are 3 or more months past due.
I would caution about shutting people off given the circumstances, but I will refer to the PRC.
And I appreciate your input. It's not something I want to do, but I'm put in a position where I got to keep my pumps running to get the water running to these customers. And if I can't pay my electric bill, I can't keep my pumps running. If I have to pay my gross receipts taxes, I have to, there's a lot of things. I have to pay my water operator, my licensed water operator, to go keep checking and maintaining and repairing things. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that if nobody pays their bills. And I get it. Everyone's mad, but our system has been producing water. We are maintaining it. We are doing everything we possibly can, like we always have. I don't know what else to do. If you can offer me a different solution, whether you, the PRC, I would gladly do it.
Okay, thank you for that information. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to state, we could look at doing a rate study, but because there's going to be a transfer, we're hoping at some point, I'm not so sure how helpful that will be. If we could look at any emergency reserves that maybe they have, just because the customers have been paying for a service that they're not fully getting, I would be mindful of that.
Yeah, I understand. And I'm not paying them for water they did not get. It's only charging them for water that they did receive. As even though it was inadequate, right? It was still an amount of water that they did receive. And the difference, that I'm allowed to bill now is just hopefully to keep it running and maintaining and the electric on so we can get it transferred. But it's a scary position I'm put in.
I understand. And maybe there's some kind of assistance we could do with bookkeeping if that would be helpful. We do have TA providers that we contract specifically for that, and we could look at budgeting, but I understand the situation. I just also, I just have some concerns for customers, paying for a service historically they haven't received, right? So. But if it's something
And
that would
I
be helpful,
understand.
we could discuss that moving forward, how we can look at the bookkeeping and see where we can, make any cuts
Well,
or
it's not
do as far as, funding comes in.
it's not really about bookkeeping. The cuts have all been made. We have like 6 bills. It's a matter of, receiving what we bill. Our package matches our bank statement as far as what we bill to what we receive, and it's very clear how it goes out. There's no question. There's no reducing it. I've already done that multiple times. The last, when all of this started, to just cut us down so we had every penny for water hauling. So it's not a matter of accounting and trying to reduce anything. We've reduced, like I said, we've reduced to the very, very bottom. And with $38.03 per customer that's not even $1,300 a month. It's like I said, even for those 5-6 bills that I cannot get rid of, it's difficult. That's why I'm saying, if we could get any of the amount that we did provide. I'm not saying it was sufficient, but we did provide it. We did pump it out of our well. Our system provided all of that work. The wear and tear of it all. We kept the water safe the whole time, like we always have throughout the history of Melody Ranch. Again, I'm just trying to be transparent and open and trying to just do the best we can with what we've been offered. We really don't have any other, like I said, I don't know what else to do. I would rather, at this point, everybody pissing a few people off to keep the water on full time for everybody. I don't know. Or just turning, having to shut the doors and no water to anybody. I don't know what the answer is. You tell me. But as usual, I'll do whatever anyone wants. But I can't do one thing without having the funds to do the one thing. And I'm not talking millions like the customers talk about.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Padilla. And before we get some, I think Ms. Herrera Waldrop might have another question or two. And then Mr. Beckworth has raised his hand. But I'll just say also that, and we discussed this several status conferences ago about the opportunity also to share with the customers and the community these kinds of fundamental needs that the utility has as well with respect to its electricity bills, primarily so that water can be pumped, because without the electricity, no water can make it to the customer. So again, just to underline that concept of transparency, as you mentioned, Ms. Padilla, and sharing with everybody involved what's at stake, what's needed, where the costs are, how those costs are being addressed, will be addressed, or need to be addressed. So I think that's also another very important part of ongoing engagement with customers to express the fundamental needs of the utility to continue pumping its water. Mr. Beckworth, would you like to share your thought on this point?
Yes, sir. So while I agree with Krista on the concerns of shutting customers off at this moment, I'm thinking beyond the current moment and how the deficiencies in bill paying might impact EMWT's efforts in kind of entering and at some point taking over operations. So as part of our Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, we are going to be looking at EMWT's finances, and those finances are going to include projections of Melody Ranch finances, So I think this is definitely a question. I'm glad this was brought up, and of the entire hearing, this is kind of going to be my takeaway. And I think that we're going to need to think about this carefully and get customers back on board with being current with their bills, because that is going to impact EMWT's efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that contribution, Mr. Beckworth. Again, it just continues to emphasize the point here of everybody needing to understand what's at stake and how our contributions all matter. And so I think that following this hearing, Ms. Padilla, I would recommend reaching out to our counterparts at the Environment Department and speak to them about your circumstances, and also speak to what Mr. Beckworth just shared with us, that any potential integration, merger, acquisition, or engagement with an external entity will require also a look at the way that Melody Ranch has been receiving its payments and customer engagement on that in that respect. So I think that this again points to the value of educating each other about what we need from everybody to move forward. Ms. Herrera Waldrop, do you have further questions or thoughts to share with us?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Padilla, I appreciate the information. And just to clarify, I'm sure you've been in contact with these customers. You know, you said there's at least 13 that are 3 months or more past due. What has the communication looked like for those particular customers? Is it just kind of sending the mail notices? Have you talked to any of them on the phone? I'm just wondering, I guess just verifying that they're aware that these are this much past due as well.
And I can't say exactly. My office worker, is the one who calls and follows up. But I do have to say, just by looking at the names on the list, they're the ones who have been not very nice. And so I know they're aware. Again, they've all been very verbal. Again, we did send out the notice per the PRC rules and regulations on the 21st, and we have 15 days. And then again, we do follow it up. We call and we make every effort before we actually go out there. But I do have to say, in regards to the future, Melody Ranch they've always paid well. I would say up until this point, like the May past due list was probably the cleanest past due list I'd ever seen. Everyone was paid up to date and everything looked good. Unfortunately, then the situation happened. But in history, the customers do pay well. They stay current, et cetera, et cetera. I believe now it's just they're wanting to break me. They think, come after me because of the things we hear. I'm stealing the millions of dollars that the customers have been paying, and I personally am doing it all. So, that's just the feedback I get from what I'm being told, though, from my workers. They're aware. Again, we did send notices. We will, verbally notify again. Again, this is not something we want to do. And it's not something that immediately I have to shut my doors tomorrow because I can't pay my electric bill, because there are the majority of these people are paying their bills. I have to say, the majority of the customers of Melody Ranch are great, wonderful people and understanding and have worked with us continuously from beginning to end through this all. So, it's just with the limited, once we get to this limited amount of billing, that's when it's going to become difficult. So Again, any other possible solution, I don't want state money. I did provide something. Yes, it wasn't satisfactory, but it was still something I pumped out of the ground. It was water I provided. I'm not asking for anything more. But what, the PRC says I'm allowed to get for my water at this point. So.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. I'll also just say that, it's really important here to remember that this the solution to this is not related to any one person. I think the less that we personalize the challenges that we're dealing with, and I believe the challenges that we're overcoming and working to fully overcome, we have to think about, again, transparency of information and communication, sharing with the customers what Melody Ranch is facing, learning from the customers and getting feedback from them about what they're facing, learning about the engagements and the support that the Environment Department provides, learning about what the needs of a potential partner in the future may be. So again, I think that the less this is personalized and the more we focus on a solution, that will enable all of us and our time investment and energies to be put to that positive goal. Ms. Herrera Waldrop, it seems like you have some other things to share, so please proceed.
Thank you. I appreciate the information. That was all I had on that. I did have one other question, and I'm not sure, Ms. Padilla, if you would know this at the top of your head, but I'm trying to understand the usage amount in the community. And pursuant to the annual reports filed with the PRC, there's a particular amount that each connection averages in terms of water usage. But my understanding is that there might be some customers, like the business that's on property, or people that might have livestock or things of that nature. So perhaps there's more households or buildings or connections that just use more water than the average customer. And I'm wondering if if we have the information on how many connections that might fall under, if that makes sense.
Okay. In the history of Melody Ranch, and if that's still true today, because I used to work, all the details, I'm no longer working the details. So let me see. I believe this is still current though, but there's only been one property that consistently, in what I considered high usage, or out of the ordinary of all other customers. And that was an individual that has 2 homes on his property. And it's been questioned before whether that individual was allowed 2 homes on one residential property. I don't know. Again, it's only 1 meter. They're both metered through 1 meter. And so, but they're the only ones who continually had, I would say, higher than normal usage. You spoke about the 2 businesses. County Line Feed is one business, but they did recently open another account with us. So there's 2, but they pretty much fall in line with normal usage. They're not definitely in the excessive column. There was one, an individual, yes, that had the pool that we followed because she continually had high usage. My understanding is that person no longer has the pool. It was not a factor this summer. So that isn't relevant anymore. But really pretty much, other than, and what we typically get is, people will have high usage and it'll end up being toilet leaking. And then when they get they use 30,000 gallons for the month, they're like, but it's just a toilet leaking. And so, just kind of letting people know that just a toilet leak does considerably use a lot of water. Other than that, just random customer leaks, that aren't, expected, but really everyone's kind of, and has normally been in normal usage and it's shown the history of course, things happen, whatnot. Again, from my knowledge, there's just this one customer only because they have 2 houses. And so they're always on the higher end. Other than that, no one really stands out, in my opinion. I can ask my worker and see if he has, a different opinion, but I would have to update you later on that.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Mr. Krankamp, did you have something to ask as well or add to that?
No, I didn't have anything to add to that. Mr. Hearing Examiner and Ms. Herrera Waldrop, it was really more in the vein of a suggestion or a recommendation. To the extent that you would benefit from more specific data, I think maybe going a bench request route or some sort of an order to provide you with certain factual information might be a better way to do that, so that you have more specifics. And you don't have folks sort of like I would do, sort of just giving you the best answer that I can with the information that I have. If you go a bench request route, then we actually give you something in writing. We did have some information that staff was provided at one point about historical usage, I think maybe from last year. And so certainly we could provide that if requested.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Hearing Examiner, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera Waldrop, again for your contributions and your questions. So I am heartened, I think, by again the developments that have occurred so far. I think that the commission is also heartened by the level of engagement, interaction. That's not to say that everything is resolved or perfect. There are certainly many other things that need to be addressed and worked out. But while we're in this moment of reprieve, this grace period, I think it's more important than ever to make full advantage of take full advantage of this time. I think, again, I'll just reiterate, Ms. Padilla, I ask you to get in touch with our counterparts from the Environment Department, with Ms. Schultz and Mr. Beckworth, and discuss not just some of the issues that were raised during today's status conference, but other issues that you may not have thought about or that they may not have thought about. And I also, as I mentioned, will be issuing an order for Melody Ranch to provide periodic updates, even if it's a 5-minute update or a 30-minute update. I think that this will help continue the momentum and take full advantage of the time and commitment that everybody has put into full restoration of service. And finally, I just reiterate again that it's going to take all of us, customers, Environment Department, commission staff, myself included, to really find our way out of this in the most positive and proactive way. So the question of transparency and sharing with each other what we're facing, what our needs are, is really the only way to find a way to satisfy all those needs and fully restore service. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time to be here with us. Again, we'll reinstitute a periodic status conference schedule after we had completed and achieved our first round of periodic status conferences in the fall, and set new timeframes going into the new year. So stay aware for upcoming orders from the commission, and we look forward to seeing you all again and your updates at the next status conference. Thank you so much, everybody, and until then, be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate you having my station.
Thank you, Ms. Pena.